Dear students, today I will teach you a new chapter from Vistas, Should Wizard Hit Mummy by John Updike. First of all, know about the writer. The writer was an American novelist. He was poet, short story writer, art critic, and literary critic. And he was one of only 3 writers to win the Pulitzer Prize for fiction more than once. Now about the story. The writer John Updike has presented a very fine worldview of a little child as well as that of the adult's age-old view. Thus the story presents a conflict between a child's perspective of life and that of an adult. Since a child can be very easily influenced by the things and the people around. Jo is little daughter of 4 years. She is engaged with her father in a story session. When she was 2 years old, Jack used to tell her an imaginary story every evening, and especially for Saturday naps. Every new story had a little alteration of a basic story. Thus the little girl felt herself involved with the characters and the happenings. Her responses became spontaneous for them. She raised a difficult moral question whether parents possessed a right to impose their will on their children. Her father found it difficult to answer her question. In addition to this, racial segregation is very much rampant in the story. I am starting story in different phases. First, I will tell about a custom of storytelling by Jack to his daughter Jo. What was the custom? In order to get his daughter Jo sleep, Jack used to tell her an imaginary story in the evening and for Saturday nap. The custom of storytelling was in vogue when the daughter was 2 years old. Each new story was a little alteration of a basic story. The story was always about an animal, a small creature named Roger. Used to be the central character of the story, and the same could be Roger Fish, Roger Squirrel, or Roger Chipmunk, etc. It had always the same problem. For a better solution to his problem, he had to see a wise owl. The owl would direct him to see the wizard. The wizard would perform a magic spell to solve the problem. For his services, the wizard would demand a number of pennies greater than the number Roger possessed. Roger used to be in short of money, so wizard would direct Roger to go a place where the extra pennies could be found. After the problem was solved, Roger would feel happy and played games with other creatures. After that, Roger would go home to his mother. In the meantime, his daddy would come from Boston. All would relish their supper. In this way, the story would end. Joe would fall asleep while listening to the story. The basic structure of the tale always remained the same, and Jack made little variations to make a new tale. Now there is a parallel story also, story of a Roger skunk. Now the girl was of 4 years and she had started going to school. This time Joe demanded it to tell her a story about a small animal, Roger skunk, about which she might have learned in her nursery class. Jack felt thrilled to make a story about a new creature. He started narrating a story about a little Roger skunk. It became the hero of the story. It smells very bad. No other animal in the woods played with him because of his foul smell. They called him Stinky Skunk. Roger would become alone and weep with tears in his eyes. Joe felt bad about Skunk and realized his pain of being ignored and insulted. The expression on her face showed how she felt bad for the baby skunk. She immediately asked her father if Skunk would not meet the wise owl. Jack felt happy with the reaction of Joe, as she had aroused concern and curiosity in his daughter. In the meantime, dragging of the furniture in the ground floor reminded him of helping his wife in the painting of woodwork, but he had to finish his story. He continued that the skunk came close to a big tree where a wise owl lived. He told the owl about his problem and started crying loudly. Joe immediately shouted, "Wizard!" She wanted the baby skunk to meet the wizard at the earliest possible. Jack made her lie down and told her to feel sleepy. He then started telling the story and told that the owl suggested the baby skunk to meet the wizard. Suddenly, Joe put a question. She asked if the magic spells are real. Another point, Joe being inquisitive. Jack was feeling a beginning of a new phase in this ride. Joe had started putting questions about the reality of the things being told to her. She was growing now and wanted to know about the truth of all the things. Jack told her that magic spells are real in the stories only. He then took his story forward and told Joe that Skunk went to meet the wizard. He was a tiny old man with a long white beard living in a small white house. Now, helping the baby skunk. The baby skunk told the wizard about his problem and asked him to help him in getting rid of the bad smell. The wizard chanted a magic spell, and all of a sudden, the stinky skunk smelled like a rose. Joe felt very happy on this. By mistake, Jack called Roger Fish instead of Roger Skunk while telling the story. But Joe immediately checked him and reminded him that it was skunk, not a fish. This shows that she was quite alert now. Jack said further that the wizard asked for 7 pennies, but skunk had only 4 pennies. Mummy Skunk's resentment. The wizard told him to go at the end of the lane where he would see a magic well. By taking round of the well for 3 times, he would find 3 pennies. The skunk did the same and came back. He paid wizard's fee. Now all the animals liked his smell, and they all played with him. In the evening, all left and Roger too went home, but his mother was much annoyed to have him smell like roses. She thought the smell horrible. She wanted him to get back the smell, but Roger Skunk resented very sharply at his mother's decision. He wanted to make her understand that no other animal played with him due to his awful smell, but she was bent upon regaining the same smell back. Now at the wizard's house. She did not listen to Roger Skunk and took him to the wizard's house with an umbrella in her hand. All went there, and with her umbrella, she hit the wizard right over the head. The wizard agreed and made Roger Skunk smell very bad again. All returned home, and the mummy was very happy. She hugged the baby skunk as it smelled as usual. They heard the train which brought their daddy skunk home from Boston. They had a hearty supper. When Roger Skunk was in bed, his mummy came up to him. She embraced him and said he smelled like her little baby skunk again. This was the end of the story. Joe's reaction. Joe did not seem to be satisfied with the ending of the story. She was against Skunk's mummy and wanted the wizard to hit her back on her head. She called her a stupid mummy. But her father Jack defended the mother, pleading that she knew what was best for her son. But Joe still resented. She did not like what the mummy did. She neither laughed nor slept, but went on wondering, why did the wizard not hit the mummy? This made Jack aware of her growing viewpoints. On his side, Jack came downstairs to work where his wife Claire was doing the painting work. Thus the writer displays adult authority on one hand and the child's inquisitiveness on the other. Thank you and have a nice day.